There's a few modern directors that create movies in their own little bubble, seemingly able to direct whatever movies they want. One is Ari Aster, one is Luca Guadagnino, one is Paul Thomas Anderson, and the other is Yorgos Lanthimos. And here he is with his latest dive into, well, shall we find out? I've just seen Bugonia. What the hell am I going to say about this one? First of all, let me just be honest here. I don't know whether this year is the best year for a long time for movie releases. Maybe I'm going to say that every single year. I've just seen Bugonia, as I've said. I don't know. I do not know. And what I don't know is how I can praise this film enough without sounding like a nutter. If you're a film lover, if you're a film fan, if you like the art of movies, then Bugonia certainly has that spark. It certainly is a brushstroke on a canvas that gives you everything that you want to see and everything that you want to feel from the medium of movies. That's my first reaction to this. So I suppose you can tell that I kind of enjoyed it. And I kind of enjoyed it for many, many reasons. Let's go through those reasons on our way home because, oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. This year we've had some interesting movies from some interesting directors. We're lucky enough to have had a Paul Thomas Anderson film this year called One Battle After Another. We're lucky enough to have had an Ari Aster film, a Darren Aronofsky film, and a Celine Song movie. And you know, we're lucky enough to have those directors, those filmmakers giving us stuff and being able to watch them in the cinema. And that is great. That is incredible. That is amazing. From nowhere, well, maybe not nowhere, but then Yorgos Lanthimos pops up and makes his presence known on the big screen in such an incredible way here with Bugonia. I'm shocked and amazed and in awe of what I've just seen. This is the film lover's film, I'm telling you. It's described as an absurdist black comedy. And I think that is the greatest description of this movie. But why is it that? What exactly is it about this that allows it to be crazy, yet poignant, yet moving, yet completely nutcase insane? Of course, it all falls at the feet of the one Yorgos Lanthimos. Of course it does. This is supposed to be an initial reaction, and my initial reaction is the first time I've ever seen anything where I do not know what to say. I mean, I don't know what to say. I want to go back into the cinema and see it again, like right now, like straight away. Yeah, it's got all of those filmic elements in there. It's got all of those things that a film nerd would love, but it's also funny. It's a remake of a movie called Save the Green Planet, which I haven't seen, and I didn't want to see it because I wanted to see this first, and I wanted to experience this without comparing it to something else. Whether that surprises you or not, that it's a remake, is irrelevant, I think, because the way that this is done, the way that this is handled, the way that the director shoots this film and gives this film an atmosphere and an air about it is totally Yorgos Lanthimos. Now, I'm saying that as somebody that hasn't seen the original, so I could be wrong. And I'm going to rectify that as soon as possible. And it's not called Bugonia, it's called Save the Green Planet, and it's directed by Yang Yoon-hwan. So we'll address that. We can do a comparison maybe. We can do something that involves comparing these two films, but let's talk about Bugonia. It is spectacular. If you've seen the trailer, basically, this is a movie that follows the story of, I mean, I don't want to call them anarchists. They're not anarchists, right? And again, you know, there's a kind of tie-in between some of the big releases of this year from those directors I mentioned earlier, right? There's a thread running through them all. One Battle After Another, for example, is that kind of anarchist thing. It's that anarchist cookbook, that anarchist playbook, that freedom from capitalism. You know, let's expose it all. Fuck the government. Fuck everything. Let's just be free. Eddington's very similar, but Eddington looks at all of that stuff from a completely different angle. Eddington studies everything that we've been through from the pandemic right up until now, Trump and all of those crazy things that are going on in the government and are still going on in the government, particularly in the USA. It's got all of those things about it. Corporatism, capitalism. It's got all of that stuff about ignoring the real people, about fuck the real people. It's all about the money. And it's really got that sensibility about it. So Bugonia has got that very same thread going through it, but it handles it in such a different way and such an interesting way. One thing that I experienced whilst I was watching this film is that sense of, I do not know where this is going. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what is going to happen next. And I don't know exactly where I'm going to end up when this film finishes. I didn't know. The genius of it is that, essentially. And in this review, I don't want to give away anything that will spoil that experience. And that's the experience that I think makes this film extremely special. The first time you watch it is that magical moment when you either go, I think this is fucking bullshit, or that magical moment when you go, I get it, and I love it, and I can't stop being amazed at it. Up until this point, I always thought Bugonia was something that Americans put in their sandwich, but it's not. It's not. It's now something more than that. It's now something more than that. Maybe an Italian dish, maybe? All right, let's carry on again. I pulled over again because I just, it's just like, oh my goodness me. All right, let's talk a little bit about the story, about what it's kind of about, and who's in it, and those basic things first. So we've got Emma Stone, right? Emma Stone is the first thing we see. Emma Stone is the first clue, I suppose, as to what to expect in this film. She's a powerful woman. She's the CEO of a pharmaceutical company. And her character's called Michelle Fuller. We're introduced to the character. She drives one of them gorgeous Mercedes G-Wagon things, and she's got, a massive house, and she trains, and she does all of those things. But she lives alone. It's just her. So we see that thing going on. So the movie begins with flowers and bees. Bees in particular, pollinating and doing whatever bees do with flowers and plants and things like that. But at the same time, we also get to see Jesse Plemons' character, that we're introduced to him as well. He plays a conspiracy theorist, or a man who thinks the world is ran a specific way by a specific set of people. He's done all of his research on the internet, right? And we know what a rabbit hole that can be for some people. If you want to find something online that confirms your beliefs or your bias or whatever, then you're gonna find it, right? You're gonna find it. Jesse Plemons' character, he plays Teddy, and Teddy believes that the Andromedans have taken over Earth, and the Andromedans are trying to, are trying to wipe out the human race, are trying to do something to the people of Earth in some sort of colonizing, takey over sort of a way. That's what he's indoctrinated himself to believe. The reason why he's done that is because his mum is sick, his mum is ill, his mum is not well. And he blames them. He blames the Andromedans, which are what he thinks are aliens. He blames them for what's happened to his mum because of experimentation, human testing, essentially. He blames the aliens for crimes, including killing the honeybee. Now, honeybees are an important metaphor in this film, and it's kind of spelled out. They're the representation of us, of life, of human life. They're very important to the fabric of this story. The other thing that Jesse Plemons' character is, he's a beekeeper. He has bees. So he understands the life cycle and the lifespan and all of those things that bees do for the world, for the Earth. He's upset at what the Andromedans are doing to the bees. Does that sound insane? Because it is. But he's not alone. He has Don, who's described as intellectually disabled. And he is Teddy's cousin. Teddy uses him in a way to sort of reinforce his beliefs, what he's considered to be what's going on to the world, to the Earth, to everybody on it. I think out of all the characters in this movie, I think Don is the one who is the most sensible. Some of the lines that he's got are so great. You've got this high concept idea. You've got Don who sort of brings everything back down to a normal earthly level, to a way of understanding what's going on. That voice of reason, let's say. And Don brings that to this story. His character is able to point out the absurdity of it. I was buying into the conspiracy theory. I was buying into that whole idea that Teddy had, Jesse Plemons' character, but not necessarily the actual idea itself, but the sentiments behind it. Thinking about the way that we, as, the regular people, as the bee colony, as it were, are manipulated and pushed and pulled in every direction, making us buy their shit and take their drugs and listen to their shite that comes out of their mouths and votes for them and whatever else it is. Those elements are right there in this film, and those elements are the ones that I was buying into totally, completely and utterly. And this is a difficult review to do. It's a difficult review to do for two reasons. One is I don't want to give anything away, right? That's the primary thing about this. I haven't given too much away already. You're fine. And the other is the fact that there's so much in this. There's so much layered here. There's so much stuff in the filling of the sandwich of the movie that it's like, oh my God, it's overwhelming. And that's what I meant before when I said about what the hell am I going to say? There's so many threads that are dangling down with this movie. How am I going to get this across? And particularly, how am I going to get this across without spoiling it? I think I've done okay so far. I think so. Okay, so one of the things we need to talk about is Yorgos Lanthimos. We've got to talk about him. The anchor, essentially, that's holding this whole thing together, that's giving this thing the magic that it has. He's a great director. I mean, let's be honest. And as I said at the beginning of the review, he's one of those directors that appeals to the film crowd, right? The film studies crowd, the film lovers crowd, the fans of movies, strange yet interesting films that are pretty accessible, to be honest with you. I mean, I would say that Bugonia is not one of those films that you go, I don't understand anything, it makes no sense whatsoever, it makes none. It's not a film like that. It's a film that you can probably enjoy, even if you look at it with a kind of raised eyebrow, which I can't do. I think you're still going to get something out of it. I still think so. It's not a film I'd recommend you watch with the grandparents, okay? I don't think Nana and Grandpa are going to get it, really. And if you do have a Nan and Granddad that will get this film, then I want to meet them, tell me who they are, they're amazing. But Yorgos Lanthimos, so Dogtooth is one of the movies that I remember seeing from him, and it's amazing. But one significant piece of work that I remember seeing and not knowing anything about it is a film called The Lobster. And The Lobster is a really weird film, but it's also a really beautiful film. If you've not seen The Lobster, watch The Lobster. Oh my God. Then, you've got The Killing of the Sacred Deer, which again is another one of those just completely mystifying movies. A film that you can't really absorb on the first watch. I think that's the right way to say it. You can't absorb it on the first watch because it's so damn complicated and so damn interesting that you really need to have another go at it. There are films about the British monarchy. You'd always consider a movie about the monarchy to be a stiff upper lip, very prim and proper, very highbrow thing. Well, The Favourite is the complete opposite to that. The complete opposite. The Favourite is a visually and storytelling masterpiece of the whole idea behind a film about the monarchy, turning it all on its head, but also the way that it's filmed, the techniques that the movie is shot with. These amazing panning shots that just go all the way around the set and the scenery and everything else. Just incredible stuff. If you've not seen The Favourite, watch The Favourite. It's going to be on a streaming service somewhere. The Favourite is amazing. You'll never look at the English monarchy in the same way ever again. And you've got a movie that I watched with a sort of perplexed expression on my face. We take that absurdist concept and we apply it to the movie Poor Things. And we are in a world, in a totally weird, constructed world that only someone like Yorgos Lanthimos could get away with. Not just do, but get away with and pull it off. Poor Things is crazy, right? Poor Things is crazy. From the very second that film opens, Poor Things has got this insanity about it, this total insanity. But it's not over the top. One thing I can't stand in films is shoutiness. I can't stand that shouty acting. And Poor Things almost has the shouty acting. Very, very similar to something like Nosferatu, for example, where there's just shouting all the time. And Nosferatu's great, and Nosferatu pulls it off really well, and so does Poor Things. But if you haven't seen Poor Things, again, very similar to The Favourite, go in expecting madness, and you'll get that. But one of the standout things about it is Emma Stone's performance. Emma Stone is amazing, amazing in Poor Things. Just amazing. And following on from that is Kinds of Kindness, which is utterly insane. Utterly insane. But again, just like The Favourite, just like Poor Things, is amazing as well. Incredible stuff. And it's very long, but it's very, very incredible. So Yorgos Lanthimos' visual style is consistent throughout all of his films, I think. You know, that interesting look, incredible scenery, that incredible aesthetic that he does give to his films, that he puts in front of the camera. I reckon Bugonia is where we meet the very top of his game. Whatever he does next, whatever he comes up with next, I don't know where he could go from here. I don't know where he could go from here, because for me, this is it, right? This is it. This is kind of boom. This is telling us everything we need to know about the society we live in, and doing it with so much style and so much beauty. Gorgeous to look at. Absolutely stunning to look at. And doing it with such a confidence as well. That is the other thing about this movie. It's the confidence the director has in his own talent, in his own craft. Some might say that's a bit egotistical. Maybe this film is a huge walking ego, but I don't think it matters. I do not think it matters, because it is so fascinating and so gorgeous and so incredible that it works anyway. If this guy is self-indulgent, the self-indulgence is amazing because it spoke to me, right? This film spoke to me. It told me about the world we live in a way that I wanted to see it represented, and I wanted to see it taken apart in a way and discussed and shown to me by somebody, by an artist. That's what we see here with Bugonia. And this is a spoiler-free review, so I'm not going to give away anything about the end. But let me tell you this, it plays with its idea, and it resolves its idea exactly the way that you think it's going to resolve it, but not at the same time. You know, I don't know how popular this is going to be. I don't know if it's going to make its money back even. We think about the other films that I've loved this year. They've not done very well at the box office. And, you know, these days in this world that we live in, where the movie companies just want to throw everything on streaming as quickly as possible, films don't have the chance to mature in the cinema on the big screen. Something like this is definitely something that should be experienced on the big screen, and it should also be experienced with a crowd. I say this a lot, right? I say this line quite a lot in my reviews, but Bugonia is something absurdist, insane, crazy, funny, black comedy of the blackest variety. And experiencing that on the big screen with other people, again, it's something special. I think it is. So all that has led us to this moment. So let's sum up Bugonia. Bugonia is a movie that if you don't see in the cinema, then you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out big style. It's been created to be shown and seen by a crowd. It is truly a wonderful piece of work. It's a remake of a movie that I've not seen, and I can't wait to see it, because if it's anything like this, it's going to be something to behold, because Bugonia is definitely something to behold. It is one of the greatest films I've ever seen. It's got all of the magic of cinema right there. It's got all of the meaning, it's got all of the storytelling, it's got all of the acting prowess, it's got all of the directing and vision. It's right there on screen, and it unfolds in front of you in ways that I can't believe what I've seen. It's just incredible. It's called Bugonia. It's available everywhere. You have to see it on the big screen. You just have to. This is the film podcast that was Bugonia, and I will see you again soon.